Hey everybody, it's the Chiat Day Binder Day 3, where I'm going to talk about Chiat Day's brilliant work for Yamaha. Yamaha motorcycles, snowmobiles, and such. The cool thing about Yamaha is Chiat Day, in their brilliance, figured out this was a challenger brand. This is a brand that wasn't Honda, it wasn't even Harley Davidson, it was sort of in between. What did it have? And what they did, like all good ad agency people did then and do today, is they got immersed in the client. They met with the factory people, they talked to the racers, they found all their friends who rode motorcycles, who rode other brands, and they tried to figure out what Yamaha had to be. And just like they did later with Jack in the Box and some others, they figured out the ultimate challenger brand positioning, which is provocative, cocky, confident, and talking directly to people. Now, Yamaha, I don't know if it's because they switched teams or because the client wanted it or whatever, but they changed typography a lot in the years they worked on Yamaha, using Century Old Style all caps, using Futuro extra bold all caps, and then eventually using at the end Times Roman. But here's something they understood too. Yamaha didn't have the biggest budget, so they learned this earlier in Chiat Day's career, but they did it again and again with this, and even with Porsche and even Nissan. If you don't have the money to be in the magazine all the time, what they did, they would, boom, show up with an insert. They'd print it, where they could control it, not the magazine printers. They could go to a printer like George Rice and Sons, and they would print these lavish, lush, essentially brochures. They'd send them to the magazines and pay to have them stitched in. So you flip through your magazine for motorcycle, regular page, then, oh, what's this? Wow. You want to pull it out? That was brilliance, absolute brilliance. There's nothing quite like it in the web today, but in printed, that was brilliant. So the brilliance of the Rebel brand, the Challenger brand, was confidence and finding what they could lean into. They found out they could lean into their racing heritage and some other things. But that confidence, when they believed in the product, that means Chiat Day folk believed in the product as in the client. And when the client believes in it and the agency does too, oh, that's a good relationship. But, I think all along that everyone wants a car client. And if you can't get a car client, a motorcycle client is pretty good. Especially if the work is so good, it helps you get a car client, which we'll talk about. So look at this one. This is Century Old Style all caps, and it's hard to read on my poor Xerox at the time, but it says, if you got beaten by a YZ last year, that was one of their models, here comes more bad news. See the first page of it. That very, very, very confident, in-your-face thing, right? That headline that says, uh-oh. I mean, it's cocky as can be. And then open it up. In Chiat Day, I don't care who you say, the art directors there, the writers, were masters of getting a lot of information beautifully arranged. Like I talked about with Apple yesterday, here we have an exceptionally beautiful spread that has so much information, so much text, and it invites you to read it. And especially when it begins with that, boom. See, this is what we do websites for now, putting all that information. But show me a fucking website that looks as beautiful as that. Oh, no, you can't. It's got to fit on the phone and blah. This is how you do it, folks. And the writing is so good, it makes you want to keep reading. And even the small italicized type that's next to the illustrations of the charts are interesting and human. Who was the writer on that? Ann Conlon. Oh, my gosh. Oh, no, that's Napier Company. Oh, here we are. The writer, of course, Phil Lanier, and the late, great Brent Boucher. Art director, Brent Thomas. The late Brent Thomas. Am I getting old? What the fuck here? Brent Thomas. Oh, my gosh, did he understand that? And here's another example. This is something they did. They had like different typography they used for Yamaha for different divisions. Was it different art directors? Let's see. Yeah, different art directors, so they did different typography. Here for a, what do you call it, ATV. The advantages of getting the shaft. Now, if you don't know what the shaft cut is, getting the shaft, that means getting fucked. But back then, it was the, kind of code way to say it. Gave you the shaft, give the shaft, even shaft, for a movie character named to be John Shaft. It had a coolness to it. So in everything they did, there was this confidence. Like here, they leaned into Yamaha's racing, motorcycle racing success. If we've told you once, we've told you 10 times. See? We told you once, we told you 10 times. See? They used it as news, but even taking news, they say it in a way that's rebellious, confident, and it's got swagger. Yeah, they did snowmobiles, racing motorcycles. Now, here's something interesting. This was an ad that Yamaha did for a motorcycle, a snowmobile, a print ad that I think Lamb and Hall shot, and I really hope the guys at Lamb and Hall made so much money they're retired if they're still alive. This is an ad for a snowmobile, and they use comparison, and the headline's great. Any similarity is purely intentional. A snowmobile and a Porsche 911. What do you think they're doing there? They're making the Yamaha snowmobile better by putting a Porsche next to it, and they're telling Porsche, we love you. So years later, which is deeper in the binder, we'll talk about Chiat and Porsche. So you have all this stuff, and Chiat even did the dealer brochures, getting really great photography, and making the topography and everything work, because they understood even back then in the early 80s that when a customer finds out about a brand and they see something at the dealer, they see a magazine ad, they may see a newspaper ad in the sports section or whatever, it all looks and feels the same. Are you getting that in 2022? And really, the whole point is, you think I'm just going into history to show old dusty samples the way we used to do it? Yeah, but you know what? This is the way it should always be done. The personality of a brand, if you're not number one, you adopt a challenger brand and you swagger, you show cockiness and confidence, and you've got to deliver it in the brand. So the other thing that was really important, one of the best things they ever did, this won a lot of awards for a snowmobile. Go jump on a lake. Look at that, it's breaking through the type, the spray's there, it's perfect. And it won a lot of awards. Hopefully it sold a lot of snowmobiles too. They have these, there was a campaign I'll tell you about that began with challenging Honda, and this was not the first ones, this ones came afterwards. But they're really, really great billboards, pretty fast. Tear along the dotted line. See? You're right. See, take an alternate route. Buy a brand that you weren't thinking of. See, anytime you've got a challenger brand, you gotta be more swagger, you gotta be more cocky, you gotta be more confident, and you gotta make the big guys look fat and boring. Remember that. Even if you're doing a banner ad, come on, say something. Now, here's the point I'm going to tell you. Of course, agencies want cars, but motorcycles are pretty cool. But they learned about how to sell hardware. When you do work for a motorcycle company, a car company can say, yeah, it's not a car, but yeah, it's still metal, it's still parts, it's still dealers, it's still expensive, etc. Yeah, we'll listen to you. So remember, get an account that'll lead you to the account you want, if you understand what I'm talking about here. Now, at the end of their tenure, they even changed, like I said, to Times Roman, which I don't think was really as cool, and even the line wasn't as cool. Yamaha, we make the difference. But I'll say the writing on this is amazing. Look at this ad. Double page spread. You flip the magazine and boom. And look what it says. You'd probably believe everything we say about this bike if we charged $800 more for it. That is a fucking headline. So what's the first paragraph say? Say, oh, people don't read all that copy, Paul. Oh, really? Tell me you wouldn't keep reading after you read this. Traditionally, there's been a very simple way to judge a motorcycle's performance without any riding, without any specs, without even seeing the motorcycle. All you have to do is look at the price tag. The lighter it'll make your wallet, the more you'll get. Until now. Introducing the $2,399 Radiant. See, subhead there? I mean, come on. It's a conversation. You want a fucking consumer journey? There's a consumer journey in this ad. Someone who's predisposed to not even look at a Yamaha, but you stop them in the magazine with this amazing headline. It challenges them, and you talk to them with respect and swagger. And this was fun. I've ripped this off many times in my own career. You take a double-page spread and you buy the 2 half pages around the bottom. One side says, show this ad to your friends. Show it to your friends. And across the page, as if everyone doesn't know what's going on here, show this ad to your parents. Be safe, Timmy. One helps sell the other. So I'm going to tell you about how they launched into this. Oh, wow. And they did, that's right, they did actual TV commercials, anything to get, something like a car, on the reel. They did a thing where it says, this is the Porsche 930 Turbo, one of the world's fastest accelerating automobiles. And this is the Yamaha's new Seiko Turbo. Exactly how quick is the Yamaha Turbo? And a pretty girl ooh, asked the guy in the Porsche, because of course a motorcycle cannot run a car. So what happened was, when they got to this whole ballsy thing, like Terrell on the dotted line, and this is how you get good at doing everything. A Chiat art director, I think it was doing a press okay for some other client, and they're at the printer. And like I always did, you wander around the printer and you see other things that they're printing. Big stacks of things. And you go, look at that, look at that, look at that. Well, they saw something from Honda, number one Honda, that said, follow the leader. It was their original campaign. Follow the leader, he's on a Honda. Follow the leader. So what did they do? He went back and said, we got to do something with this. So they took a picture of Yamaha, black motorcycle, kind of at a badass angle, and it just said, don't follow anyone, Yamaha. And then they got media involved with it, and they bought the billboards right after the Honda billboards. So you're going down the highway and say, Honda, follow the leader. And you see Yamaha, don't follow anyone. Does your agency do anything that awesome? Oh, yeah, we buy the SEO positioning on Google search, and we pay for the space above the one that the leaders even doing. No, that's not the same thing. That, for instance, is using subterfuge. This is being badass. Sorry if you hear a machine going here, but as long as you can hear me, this was important. Yamaha meant to Chiat, the first bit of automotive kind of hardware they got as a client. In fact, the original ad, sell promo ad, which we'll talk about when we get to the Chiat sell promotion ads back here a bit further, it says, Chiat wants to join a motorcycle gang. That was where they're pushing it. They could be so passionate. When you don't have credentials, you have to have passion. And a client has to realize you just want it so much that you'll show that passion. And they did that as an agency. And they had fun with it. They had old guys with their shirts off and stuff, act like, oh yeah, they're a motorcycle gang, which is disarming and charming. And it won the business. And what do they do with it? They turned Yamaha into a badass challenger brand with confidence and swagger. In many ways, the Yamaha work is Chiat at its best. A great variety of work in there, and it did really good things for Yamaha. Well, that's it. So again, what are you supposed to learn from this? No matter what you're doing today in so-called marketing, branding, advertising, if you write it, make it awesome. If you're designing it, make sure the design delivers the brand message as cleanly and as authoritatively as possible. If you're not number one, act like a challenger brand and be badass, be cocky, be arrogant, but be able to back it up. Chiat, the Chiat binder. We're only at the beginning of this. We've got a long way to go. If you care about advertising, about branding, about craft at all, stick around. So we're going to get better.